May you please just give us a brief background on the summit that is currently taking place in Turkey?
Thank you very much. The second Turkey-Africa Business and Economics Summit started this morning here in Istanbul, second after the first summit that was in 2014. It was addressed by President Erdogan and the President of Ethiopia, as well as the Prime Minister of Rwanda, the current chair of the AU, and 34 ministers of trade from different African countries. It is the second conference that Turkey is hosting, and within the framework of its Go Africa policy that started 15 years ago.
Now, Ambassador, perhaps you can just outline for us what are some of the major agenda points, major discussion points that are going to be on the agenda, as well as perhaps if you could just shed some light on the 4 sub-themes of the forum.
First of all, let me just explain to you, obviously the sub-themes are supposed to deepen the different aspects. That is, in terms of funding, how do you finance this expanding relationship between Turkey. The trade between Turkey and Africa has increased by 5-fold in the last 15 years. And its imports from Africa into Turkey has increased 3 times over the last 15 years. Turkey presently has 45 embassies throughout Africa, and 34 countries in Africa have embassies in Ankara here in Turkey. And this is a deliberate policy that was taken by the Turkish government 15 years ago to increase and deepen its relationship with the African continent. Others are coming on stream now, whether it's China or Asian countries, Europe, in terms of its Go Africa policies over here. But Turkey started this policy 15 years ago. Trade has multiplied from 6 billion at 15 years ago to 21 billion at the present moment. So it shows the objective of these conferences is basically in terms of what are the bottlenecks? How can you improve on that increasing and constantly improving relationship? The other example that the Turkish foreign policy putting everything in its way to narrow or to get the continent closer with Turkey is that the Turkish Airlines is now flying to 51 destinations in Africa. No other airline from outside Africa is doing as much to improve those relationships. It will be 53 by the end of this year when Gambia and Lesotho flights, daily flights to these countries will come on stream. So it's looking at bottlenecks in terms of how do you finance trade relations. There are Turkish Chamber of Commerce is the co-organizer together with the Ministry of Trade of this summit, and they're looking at all areas in which all the bottlenecks that are refraining or slowing down that relationship can be taken out of the way to increase the trade relations.
Now, Ambassador, you mentioned earlier that one of the objectives of this summit is to, of course, then improve relations between Turkey and some of its African allies. But what are the current relations like between Namibia and Turkey? And what are some of the specific agenda points that Namibia is looking, or possible areas that Namibia is looking to cooperate with Turkey?
Turkey, I think our relations with Turkey intensified since our president at that time, I think 5 years ago, visited a similar summit that was organized. The current president was then the trade minister, visited, and our current trade minister has been to Turkey, and our deputy prime minister has been to Turkey quite a number of regularly. We have established diplomatic relations. At the present moment, still represented by a non-resident ambassador from Berlin. I'm based in Berlin, and a non-resident ambassador to Turkey. And we have plans to establish a resident embassy in the near future. Turkey, on its part, established an embassy 5 years ago in Windhoek. Not only an embassy, but they have actually established the headquarters of the Development Cooperation Agency, TICA, in Windhoek, and they cover all SADC countries, Southern African countries, from Windhoek. Turkey, TICA offices, there are only 18 across the African continent, and of those 18, the one in Windhoek is the one that covers Southern Africa, from where they are covering Southern. So the relations are pretty close. Turkey was a member of the United Nations Council for Namibia before our independence, participated in UNCTAD, that oversaw the independence process in Namibia. So it's been a constant ally on our side. And we are looking at ways in which Turkey can get involved in assisting our development agenda after independence.